features. The gameplay I'm running from myself is using my old Samsung Galaxy S8. Now it is an older device, so I do categorize it as a lower end device, and as you can see, this shader runs really nice on it. Minimal lag, which is always what we like to see in a shader, and it does have some nice shader effects. Some of the features in the shader's update was the water enhancements. As you can see on the water, there is now a sun reflection. With the water, there is also a fake block reflection. So as you can see, there is a bit of a darker color in the background there. So when you place it up against some blocks and you are looking into it, it does look like the block reflections. It is a nice effect and it does look really lovely. The shader also added some glowing aura effects, which is always nice to see. It makes it a lot easier when you're mining in the caves and you can say, oh look, what's that in the distance? A glowing diamond ore. Now I can go and mine it. Some other features which was recently added in the shader is the waving effect with the plants. The animation's a bit, I would like to say it's a bit off. As you can see, it's a bit hit and miss with the wavy effect, but it still looks quite nice. There are also some performance improvements and overall some minor details like the saturation was improved. If you do have a lower end device on Android, make sure you check this one out as it does run really lovely. Now moving on to the next shaders, which is Musk Shader, and there is also a Musk Shader Lite. As you can see in the gameplay right now, it is extremely laggy. So this gameplay right here is from myself on iOS. The creator has ported his Musk Shader to iOS, but it has not released yet. Make sure you follow the creator on Twitter so you can keep an eye out if he does release the iOS version, but unfortunately for now, I cannot share the iOS download. In the description, the main downloads are for Android and Windows 10. On iOS for myself running iPad Air 3, I'm not too sure if it was a performance or optimization issue, but as you can see, it is quite laggy and there is a bit of a visual on the water, which isn't game breaking, but you can just notice it. I don't believe this is present on the Android and Windows 10 version, as it is more optimized and runs a lot better. Musk Shader is a very lovely shader, and as you can see, this shader looks spectacular. It keeps the default looking clouds but makes them so much better, and it has a really awesome color tone and lighting effects. It is really beautiful in a sunrise sunset. It just looks spectacular. This shader also has a really awesome water reflection. As you can see, it has the sun reflection, the cloud reflections, and it does look spectacular, especially the sunrise sunset, the water, the reflections. Ooh, it is lovely. This shader also features a end sky effect, which I think is quite lovely. It doesn't do too much with the animations or anything like that, but as you can see, it is just subtle and amazing. Unfortunately for myself, when I was using it on iOS, I even got lag in the end sky, so I think it might be a performance. Usually the end skies for myself don't lag using shaders, but this one did have a little bit of lag. It was still playable in the end for myself, but on Android and Windows 10, you probably won't get any lag in the end. As I mentioned, there is a light version of this shader, which does just reduce some of those really awesome features. It strips it back a bit, but it still looks quite lovely. So if you do have a lower end device, make sure you check out the light version. If you do have a higher end device, go ahead and try the original version. Moving on to another shader I haven't covered yet is Ringo Shaders. This shader was recently released and it does look quite lovely. It is a very basic shader at the moment, so if you do have a lower end device, once again this shader will be perfect for you. The gameplay is running on my Galaxy S8, however I noticed when the creator released some footage there was a round sun and it looked a little bit different. For myself, I'm not too sure if it's because of my device, but it still had the default sun and the default clouds. For now, it doesn't have any water effects or wavy effects like that. It really only just changes the lighting and the color tones to the shader, which once again looks spectacular. As you can see in the gameplay, the lighting definitely enhances your game. As this shader doesn't have too many features, I highly recommend following the creator on Twitter, which is linked in the description, so you can keep up to date with all the shader news when he does upload new screenshots and teasers for his upcoming shader features. But moving on to the final shader, which is Bicubic Shader. Unfortunately, this shader only works on Windows 10 at the moment. It does not support Android or iOS. However, this shader looks spectacular. This is one of the best versions of Bicubic Shader I have ever seen. I could not get the shaders working on my computer, so I could not use my own gameplay, so I have borrowed some gameplay, which all the credits to all the gameplay I have used is in the description below. Make sure you check him out. He does a few other shader videos and a lot of other Bedrock content. Now this shader is spectacular. Speaking of a beautiful sunrise sunset, this shader just tops it. It is absolutely gorgeous with those colors, the lighting and the overall effects. Bicubic Shader has always been one of my favorite shaders because I just love the saturation and the colors with this shader. It definitely enhances the visuals and it pops it out a bit more with the colors. This shader also has a really awesome water reflection. As you can see, the gameplay, there is the sun reflection, the cloud reflections. Looks really beautiful. It also has some awesome underwater acoustics effect, which does look beautiful. You cannot see them from above the water, but when you go underneath the water, it definitely looks realistic and awesome. With the water, there is also a new kind of water bump effect, so it does have that nice wave on it, which definitely looks realistic. If you're on Windows 10 and have Better Render Dragon Shader installed, I highly recommend checking out Bicubic Shader. It is amazing. Hopefully the creator can port his shader over to iOS or Android so I can try it out for myself. I will definitely do another video on it if I can get my hands on this shader to work, but for now I have just borrowed some gameplay. But that is all for today's video. 5 awesome new shaders. If you have enjoyed, a like is always appreciated. If you are new, make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on the best Pocket and Bedrock Edition shaders. But thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one, and a peace.